Welcome everyone. Another Tuesday live Q&A session. We're coming in off of the 4th of July holiday, um, second week of July for Arizona. There's only a handful of weeks left before kids go back to school and summer vacations are over. So what I kind of wanted to bring all of that together is refocusing after things have been off, different than what our usual is throughout the year. So sometimes this can be from a long holiday weekend like 4th of July. Sometimes this can be just simply going on a true vacation, whether it be during summer or not. And sometimes it's just, the summer months are a little more out of whack than during the school year because the kids' schedules are all less regimented. So there's not a set time where everyone has to leave the house per se. There's not a set time where everyone's coming home. Kids try, if they're like my kid, they try and push that bedtime back further and further because they don't have to be up in the morning. So there can be a lot of challenges with being on routine, being on task, and sometimes you got to make adjustments when needs must. And then coming back to our routines. Now, this can be coming back to our routine after a long break, like the entire summer, or just a short vacation or an extended weekend. A big thing that I want to encourage getting away from is constantly entering this mindset with a feeling of guilt and a need to punish ourselves for not being 100% on task for whatever reason. We're allowed to live our lives. We're allowed to have vacations. We're allowed to have a fun weekend. Sometimes, needs must where we have to shift how the routines look, whether it be summer vacation, maybe it's someone's got a different job role that requires a phase of shift to get into a new routine. The key things that matter is majority of the time you're prioritizing your protein with each meal, a vegetable, and then the majority of our carbohydrates are coming from healthier, whole food, single ingredient, as as least minimally processed as possible. Sets us up for better success nutritionally, calorically, and therefore, from an aspect of maintaining a healthy weight as well, keeping our metabolic functions running at an ideal rate. Doing that even on vacation, while some situations may make it more challenging, will help keep you in line more often than not, even if sometimes the portions are getting out of hand. And two, trying to do something active even when we're not able to access our usual things. So this can just be simply going for longer walks. This can be being mindful about, we're going to do stairs everywhere that we go instead of elevators. It can be, trying to fit in a hike, if depending on what's accessible with it. Just things that get you moving, being more mindful about, hey, we're going to take the kids over to this place so everyone can run around rather than just sitting and watching the kids run around. Little things like that can go a long way in helping sustain what you've accomplished during these times that are abnormal from your routines. And when we get back, what, regardless of how great we've been with staying consistent with any of those things, when we get back and it's time where we have the time to get back on the routines with our eating, with our workouts, everything going the way we want it to, I don't want you to approach it with an attitude of, I need to suffer a little bit more than what I would usually because of the fun and enjoyment that I got to have. Approaching these things with that type of attitude can set up um, unhealthy relationships with the whole thing in regards to what your lifestyle is. If you start looking at the attitude of any sort of working out as a punishment for what I've done wrong, that's not a great relationship to have with exercise and fitness. Um, Approaching with the, well, because I had all of this stuff, now I need to over constrict what I'm eating for the next couple weeks. That's going to cause more stress, more likely to burn out, and then just start going into the cycle of binging binging hard restriction, and ultimately not getting anywhere. So give yourself some grace. Don't approach creating your lifestyle routines with an attitude of crime and punishment. The whole idea is that we want to set up a lifestyle that can accommodate some of the fun times. So it's not a punishment and prize, so to speak. It's a balance of, we're going to do these things so we have a little more fun when the time arises for these, whether that be we're going to move on a regular basis. So maybe when I go to the cabin, I can sloth around and not feel bad as much. Maybe I do one hike instead of two, whatever it is. But it's about creating balance, because sometimes we do just need to rest and relax, especially if you are consistently getting your activity in. If you're doing 3 days a week of strength training and then moving with a purpose the other days a week in some way, whether it be walking, biking, playing with kids, whatever, and you're on task with your healthy nourishment, proper calories, your body needs some time to kind of rest and reset. Let it recover, let all the joints, ligaments, and tendons not get abused for a few days. Get some extra sleep rather than having to get up at the crack of dawn. Let your body recover. That's the whole purpose of vacation and time off. It is to recover, recoup, reset yourself so you can come back in more focused, more energized, and more ready to accomplish new things with your day, with your routine, with your life. And doing that rather than going on these things, having fun, but then returning to the ordinary with a sense of guilt, with a sense of dutiful punishment that has to be inflicted for the fun that you had, really isn't setting ourselves up for enjoying life to the fullest. Just a few thoughts. If you have other questions, thoughts, things that you'd like to just have us discuss further, throw them in the comments. If you are watching on the replay, put them in the comments still. We'll pick it up where we left off in the following weeks and our weekly live Q&A sessions. Until then, hope everyone has a great week, and remember to stay persistent in your consistent pursuit of health.